everyone, this is Sid here and welcome back to another video. If you have been on the internet for any length of time recently, you probably know about all the live action remakes that have been coming out recently, and one of the most recent ones was actually the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake made by Universal. You know, Disney has been doing theirs for a while now. They started with the Jungle Book like way back when, and they did the Alice in Wonderland in like 2010 or 2011, but I think this is the first time that a studio other than Disney is doing a live action remake, and it's being done by Universal for How to Train Your Dragon. So I had very mixed thoughts going into this. I was thinking to myself like, well, How to Train Your Dragon is already a really good movie. Like, it is one of the best, probably. Like, everyone I've talked to, whether they're a dragon fan or a fantasy fan, or they're just like a fan of more normal, realistic, contemporary things, if they're an adult or a kid, or if they're a boy or a girl, like, pretty much everyone loves How to Train Your Dragon if you just ask them. Like, literally my history professor for AP Human Geography, he is a 65-year-old man, and he said that How to Train Your Dragon was one of his favorite movies, like, with a serious look in his eyes, because, I mean, it's just a really great example of storytelling and, like, how to properly convey, like, building a relationship, building a bond, and, like, all those emotions and stuff, you know? So, live action remakes have a reputation for being soulless rehashes that drain the originals of all of their emotion. So, since the emotion was one of the core things that made How to Train Your Dragon, the original version, so good, and put it up there among the best, I was really concerned that if this live action remake did not have that same level of emotion, it would just fall flat. But I think it actually did pleasantly surprise me at how much better it was. So yeah, I did go in and I realized that it was going to be a like frame by frame remake. Like, they weren't going to be changing anything, at least not anything like significant, and they were just going to be adding on in more meaningful ways. So I always do appreciate when they do that, like where they keep all of the original things there and present in the story, and they just expand on the original content, the source material, in a nice, respectful way. Like for Lilo and Stitch, someone pointed out in my previous video, because I went to go watch the Lilo and Stitch live action remake as well, that they made some major changes in that one that just changed the overall like vibe and feeling of the story. Like, it's a story about how Nani and Lilo have to live together and take care of each other because their parents both died, but in the end of the original one, like, everything's good and they stay together. In the end of the live action one, Nani actually gives up Lilo for adoption. So someone pointed out in my comments that like they thought that was a really bad change that just like disturbed them and changed their perception of the movie, and I'm like, that makes sense, you know. But the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake, it kept everything pretty much the same, at least as far as I could tell. I couldn't tell that there were any like major changes or anything like that. For me in particular, some of the things that like get me the most when it comes to movies are, first of all, the voice acting, because I am a theater kid and I know how important it is to like be loud and have clear diction and just try to convey as much emotion and energy as possible through your voice. And I feel like in animated movies, usually the voice acting is better because like all that the actor is getting paid for is their voice and not like their appearance or physical presence or any of that. So I feel like they put more effort into their sound in animated movies, and I kind of feel like actors in live action movies tend to sort of slack when it comes to their voice and like vocal performances. So I was kind of concerned that they would not sound nearly as like excited or energetic as they needed to, especially since they did sound kind of boring in the trailer. But I was pleasantly surprised, especially I feel like Stoic, whoever his actor was, I'll pull up a picture on screen right now, but he, I think, did a really good job. Like, he probably totally carried the movie, in my opinion. Like, he looked exactly like the animated character, just as a real life version, and he also sounded exactly just perfect. I read somewhere online that they actually got the person who voice acted for Stoic in the animated movie to be the actor in the live action movie. So I think that's pretty cool. I feel like if you can, you should always do that. Like, have the people who played the characters in the animated play the people in the live action, but I know that's not always possible, because if it's like Snow White, which also came out earlier this year, and you're making one movie in 1930 and you're making one movie in 2025, then like obviously you can't have the same actors. But I feel like if you were able to, that would be a pretty cool thing to do, you know? I was also a bit concerned about like the visuals and animation and stuff like that, like the CGI and all of that great stuff, because in the trailer, like, it did look really, really good. It just looked like sort of weird and like out of place to me. Like, it looked very strange and awkward. I don't really know how to describe it, but I feel like the visuals definitely do look like a lot better in the actual movie than they look in the trailer. I feel like the visuals are very, very good. I know some people were talking about how it looked like it was sort of drained of color in the trailer, but I feel like it was very bright and vibrant in the actual movie, which was pretty good. I did love Toothless's design. I didn't really like it in the trailer, but I did warm up to it in the actual movie. I really think the trailer was just bad, because like there were several qualities of the trailer that I did not really like, but then in the actual movie it was like so much better. So I feel like the trailer did a real disservice to the actual movie. But I don't know. It might have been because me and my mom went to go see it in IMAX, because I've actually never been to an IMAX before, and I didn't really know what it was. But you know, normal movie tickets cost like $10, and these IMAX movie tickets which we got, which were supposed to be like special, quote unquote, were like $20. So instead of paying like $20 for the both of us, $10 per person, we paid a total of like $40 for the both of us and like $20 per person. I was like, oh my god, this is kind of intense. But anyways, they had this whole entire like IMAX trailer thing before we started. It was like, IMAX, the ultimate movie experience. Like, they were trying to convince us that our money was worth it. I'm like, this is such a scam. I literally like could not tell the difference between being at an IMAX movie and at like a normal movie, except the speakers like broke my ears. Like, the sound was just so much louder. I don't know if it was higher quality or like more crisp, but it was just like painfully loud. And then the visuals looked almost the same. So I want to say like IMAX experience was worse, because it just like left my ears aching afterwards. But anyways, I feel like the visuals were a lot better in the actual movie than they were in the trailer. And I feel like it was kind of strange, because like the inconsistency of the dragons, you know, like some dragons, like the Monstrous Nightmare, look like dinosaurs or something that you would see in like Jurassic Park or Jurassic World. Like, I swear to god, the Monstrous Nightmare is just a Spinosaurus, but like copy and pasted and turned into a dragon. And then on the other hand, we have different little dragons like Toothless, who look like completely different. I don't even know how to describe what Toothless looks like, other than that he looks sort of like an alien or something. I just now saw a post where it was like Toothless was based on Stitch, which I mean, I guess makes sense, since I'm pretty sure the producer for Stitch and How to Train Your Dragon was the same person, which is why it's a coincidence that both of the live action remakes come out in the same year. But I don't think I'll be able to unsee that now. I can totally see how Toothless was based on Stitch. But yeah, I love the visuals, and I think I was also kind of skeptical about whoever they chose as Astrid being Astrid. I didn't really think she had like the Astrid energy or the Astrid look. I feel like someone like Sabrina Carpenter looks a lot more like Astrid, especially like the older version of Astrid when she's sort of like grown up and matured, you know? But this girl had like brown hair. Something about her hair was also throwing me off. I think it was just like the texture of her wig or something, but I think her hair looked a lot better in the movie version, and I think think her personality just conveyed a more Astrid type personality in the movie version, you know? But yeah, I feel like they kept all the same emotion for the most part, and I feel like it was just really, really good overall. Like, not better than the original, because, I mean, how could it possibly ever be better than the original? Some movies are just better told in animated style than in live action style. I don't know why animation is viewed as like less than live action, because there's so much more you can like do with animation, you know, and it takes so much more time and effort in my opinion, because everything has to be so like thoughtfully planned out and stuff. Not that like live action doesn't have to be, but you can just like resave it as many times as you want to, you know, like you're not probably gonna reanimate things several times over again, because it just takes so much like time and money to do so, you know? But yeah, if the original one was a 10 out of 10, which I mean it probably is, it's just such a great movie. One of my top like 5s of all time. How to Train Your Dragon, you know? Probably my favorite animated movie, either How to Train Your Dragon or Big Hero 6, but like I love it so much. If that was a 10 out of 10, I'd probably say this live action remake would be either like an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10. I'd definitely watch it over again if I was doing like a How to Train Your Dragon marathon or something. I would add this to the either beginning or end of it. And I think, like, it's not better than the original, obviously, as I said earlier, but I think, like, if you had never watched the original version and you watched this version, you would think this is, like, the greatest thing of all time, you know? It's just, it's really, really good. So, I think that was amazing, because all of us have been doubting live-action remakes and, like, dunking on them and saying, like, oh, live-action remakes are terrible, all of that great stuff, which, I mean, a good amount of them are. Snow White was absolute trash, garbage fire, like straight out of a dumpster, and Lilo and Stitch was like mediocre. I thought it was like okay, but How to Train Your Dragon was just like at a whole nother level of live action epicness, you know? So yeah, I'm gonna be watching Elio with my mom tomorrow, which is the new Pixar original film. It's like a sci-fi about a boy who becomes friends with some aliens and stuff like that. So I'll let you know how that goes and do a little short review after that. And yeah, but anyways, I hope you guys all had a great time watching this video, and if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe for more, just for full transparency, so you're not like feeling like you're being skimmed by me. I don't usually do movie reviews, but I do make a review every time I go to watch a movie, which is usually like once or twice per month, so you can stay tuned and stick around for that. For the most part though, I am like a artist channel. I do post like speed paints and stuff of me drawing my pictures, but I am like a huge dragon fan. Dragons are like a huge part of me and my background and all of that great stuff, so I do post dragon content like Wings of Fire, How to Train Your Dragon, and other dragon stuff if you want to stay tuned and stick around for that. But yeah, clicking subscribe always helps me so much in boosting my YouTube channel into the algorithm and making it so that more people like you can see my videos, which is always such an amazing thing, because I do love to share my videos with the community and all that great stuff. But yeah, if you want to take your support from me a step further, then please go click the links in the description box down below. I have other stuff like my Instagram account and my Instagram Grubs account, where I post food pics if that is more up your alley. And yeah, anyways, I hope you all guys all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next video. Always remember that I love you, and goodbye, eat more waffles, and peace out, Girl Scouts.